I'm very excited today. I want to talk about New Year's Eve because we're in that Christmas and New Year's season where there is wonderful opportunities to talk about Jesus. And so I want to talk about how do we talk about Jesus on New Year's Eve. I want to give you a conversation starters, 7 in fact. I've got some simple ones for you, conversation starters that you could use on New Year's Eve. Now, what I'm also doing in this episode is I want to give you a response to people once you start a conversation, a response that's more direct, a more direct Christian response, and I want to give you more of a subtle Christian response. So depending on your audience of who you're talking to, you will choose one or the other. So let's get into it. Some conversation starters to help us talk about Jesus on New Year's Eve. Here's the number one question that I would ask. What's one thing you're most proud of from this past year? What's one thing that you're most proud of from this past year? And then depending on what that person says, my direct Christian response would be this: that's amazing. For me, I've found that leaning on my faith gives me strength to handle challenges like that. Do you ever feel like there's something bigger helping you get through tough times? Or my more subtle response would be this: that's incredible. I've realized that the things I'm most proud of come from moments when I trusted in something beyond myself. Do you ever feel like there's a deeper reason behind the things you achieve? And let people engage with those questions. Here is my second conversation starter. If you could change one thing about this past year, what would it be? Now, don't forget, when you ask the questions, you're asking them in a conversation, so you're not just coming out with one of these questions at the wrong time. You've got to wait for the conversation to move, to be in a certain space, to believe the Lord for those natural openings where you would ask it. So here it is again. If you could change one thing about this past year, what would it be? And now, depending on what people say, here's my more direct Christian response. You know, looking back, I've realized that my faith helps me find peace, even in the things I can't change. Have you ever thought about how we deal with life's disappointments? Great question to ask. Looking back, I've realized that my faith helps me find peace, even in the things I can't change. Have you ever thought about how we deal with life's disappointments? My more subtle response would be this after I've asked the question: if you could change one thing about this past year, what would it be? I might say, I get that. I've been trying to focus more on letting go of things that I can't control and finding peace in the process. What helps you move forward when things don't go as planned? So some great questions there to ask. Here's my third conversation starter. What are you hoping for in the new year? Once people answer that, give some thought to it, my direct Christian response would be this: that's a great goal. For me, having faith gives me hope, no matter what happens. Where do you think hope like that comes from? Just ask people a question. That's a very direct question. Or a more subtle response would be this one: that's such an inspiring hope. I've found that focusing on the bigger picture helps me stay positive. Do you ever feel like there's something that gives you a sense of hope, even in the tough times? That's a more subtle question. So depending on your audience, the person you're speaking to, ask the question, what are you hoping for in the new year? And either have a bit more of a direct response or a more subtle response. Number 4, my fourth question, my fourth conversation starter for New Year's Eve. This time next year, where would you like to be in life? This time next year, where would you like to be in life? See what people say. Here's my direct Christian response. When I think about where I want to be, I often pray for guidance. What do you think helps you figure out the right direction in life? Isn't that a great question? What do you think helps you figure out the right direction in life? And my more subtle response, to the question this time next year, where would you like to be in life? I would say that's such a great vision for the future. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to trust that things will work out in the right way. How do you decide what direction to take in life? I love this response, and I have used this one, and I will use that again. That's such a great vision for the future. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to trust that things will work out in the right way. How do you decide what direction to take in life? Let me ask you a question. Are you equipped to share your faith? Is your church ready to do the same? Our evangelism training helps both individual believers and church leaders foster a culture of evangelism. It equips everyday Christians to have natural faith conversations and provides pastors with the tools to train their church. With flexible online resources, you can learn at your own pace, anytime, anywhere. Don't leave evangelism to chance. Visit evangelisminaustralia.com to get started. That's given us 4 conversation starters for this New Year's Eve. Start to think about those things you're going to be doing on New Year's Eve or just leading into New Year's Eve, because they're all end-of-year type questions, so you don't have to be at a New Year's Eve event. You can be asking these questions, I'd say, as soon as Christmas is over and you've asked all your Christmas questions, go into your New Year's Eve type mode, New Year's end-of-year questions. Number 5, what's one thing you've learned about yourself this year? What's one thing you've learned about yourself this year? Once people have a think and they respond to that, here is what I would call my more direct Christian response. I've learned this year how much my faith shapes my resilience. Do you ever think about how challenges might have a bigger purpose? Put the question out there, see what people say. And my more subtle response to the question, what's one thing you've learned about yourself this year, would be this. That's a powerful realization. I've learned a lot about how challenges can shape us and even bring something positive in the end. Do you ever feel like there's a reason behind the tough moments? So these are wonderful questions, and they're deep questions. They go beyond the surface, and they really get people thinking and people talking. So wonderful questions, and it is all about asking those powerful questions at New Year's Eve or leading in to the end of the year. Number 6, and I've only got 7 for you. What do you think gives life meaning as we start a new year? What a great question to ask people. And depending on their response, you're going to engage with that. Here's my more direct Christian response. For me, life's meaning comes from knowing that I'm loved by God and that He has a purpose for me. What do you think makes someone's life truly meaningful? So that's more direct. For me, life's meaning comes from knowing that I'm loved by God and He has a purpose for me. What do you think makes someone's life truly meaningful? A more subtle response when you've asked the question, what do you think gives life meaning as we start a new year, might be this. I've been reflecting on how important it is to live with a sense of purpose. For me, it's about feeling connected to something bigger than myself. What about you? What makes life meaningful to you? That is a brilliant question. I've been reflecting on how important it is to live with a sense of purpose. For me, it's about feeling connected to something bigger than myself. What about you? What makes life meaningful to you? These are brilliant conversation starters, and then you can engage with the responses that people give to you. Number 7, my final conversation starter, how to share your faith on New Year's Eve. What are you most grateful for as this year ends? And isn't gratefulness such a theme in the Christian world and the non-Christian world alike? What are you most grateful for as this year ends? Let the person think, let them have a little chat back to you. My direct Christian response would be this: I've realised how gratitude connects me to God's blessings. What do you think is the source of the things you're most thankful for? What a great question, but very direct, because you've asked the question after you've said, I've realised how gratitude connects me to God's blessings. So you might want to take a more subtle response on this one. You might say, that's beautiful. I've been thinking a lot about how gratitude changes the way I see life. How does gratitude affect you? How does gratitude affect you? And it's a great question because, as I said, very much in the Christian world and non-Christian world, there's a big focus on gratitude, and people are posting lots about that. There's lots of books just in the secular space on this, and people are engaging with this word gratitude. So there are 7 conversation starters for you for New Year's Eve. So how you can be talking about Jesus on New Year's Eve, or leading into New Year's Eve, or just after, because these are really about reflecting on the year, as I said.